Another day, another story. Tropical cyclones, hurricanes, and typhoons form over warm areas of the ocean where the water temperature is high enough to fuel evaporation and storm development. If the ocean's surface temperature is below 26 degrees C, 79 degrees F, there will not be enough heat available and evaporation rates will be too low to provide a tropical cyclone with enough fuel. However, if the ocean's surface is warmer than this, tropical cyclones can develop. Welcome to Tabo Eminent Channel. As the temperature of Earth's atmosphere continues to rise because of global warming, some of this increased heat is transferred to the oceans, which contributes to sea level rise because heat causes water to expand and glaciers to melt and raises temperatures at the sea surface. Scientists expect that rising sea surface temperatures could produce an increasing number of hurricanes while making them stronger and more intense than previous hurricanes. Globally, the verdict is still out as to whether global warming is creating more of these storms. However, there are signs of change in some regions, such as the North Atlantic Basin. A close look at hurricane records from 1980 to 2022 reveals that hurricane activity is increasing in the North Atlantic Basin. An analysis shows that the number of hurricanes is trending upward, and so is the number of major hurricanes, that is, storms reaching Category 3 status, which have sustained winds of 178 kilometers per hour, 111 miles per hour, or more. The most active years during this period were 1995, 2005, 2010, and 2020, each of which produced more than 10 storms that achieved Category 1 status, which have sustained wind strength of 119 kilometers per hour, 74 miles per hour, or more, or a higher status of intensity. Of these years, the 20th North Atlantic hurricane season stands out, as it had 15 hurricanes, of which 7 became major hurricanes. However, this increase appears only after fitting trend lines to the data. Several seasons over this 42-year span show lower hurricane activity instead. For example, the North Atlantic hurricane seasons of 1982, 1994, 1997, 2009, and 2013 were the least active. Many of these years correspond to the arrival, or impending arrival, of El Niño in the Pacific Ocean, a climate phenomenon that has a dampening effect on hurricane development in the North Atlantic Basin. Are scientists at a point where they can argue confidently that hurricane activity is increasing, or that global warming is causing an increase in hurricane activity? Right now, the answer to both of these questions is no. Global and regional hurricane records indicate that the apparent increase in hurricanes in the North Atlantic does not appear in many of the other hurricane-producing regions. In fact, hurricane activity in some regions has even declined over the same period. What's more, there is no guarantee that the trend in the North Atlantic will persist, since scientists are predicting stronger and more frequent El Niño events as global warming continues. While climate science goes on sorting out how Earth's large-scale atmospheric phenomena, including El Niño, ocean currents, and high-pressure centers over ocean basins, affect one another and how each is affected by global warming, research continues to suggest that a warming atmosphere and ocean makes hurricanes more and more likely and increases the likelihood that the hurricanes that do form will be more intense. However, whether these hypotheses will be proved correct remains to be seen. Long-term trends in hurricane frequency. Historical data shows variability in the number of hurricanes over different time periods. The records indicate that there isn't a straightforward increasing trend when looking at the entire historical data set. However, it's important to note that data quality and coverage have improved significantly over time, especially with the advent of satellite technology since the 1970s. Impact of climate change. Climate change plays a critical role in influencing the characteristics of hurricanes. While there isn't a clear consensus on whether the overall number of hurricanes is increasing, there is substantial evidence suggesting that the intensity of hurricanes has increased. Warmer sea surface temperatures, a consequence of global warming, provide more energy for hurricanes, potentially leading to more Category 4 and 5 storms. Regional variability. The trends in hurricane activity can vary by region. For example, the North Atlantic has seen an increase in hurricane activity since the 1980s, which some studies attribute to both natural variability and human-induced climate change. Changes in detection and reporting. the capability to detect and report hurricanes has improved drastically with advancements in technology. Earlier in the 20th century, many hurricanes went undetected because they didn't make landfall or weren't observed by ships. Scientific studies and reports. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC reports, have highlighted that while there is low confidence in long-term, centennial increases in tropical cyclone activity, there is high confidence in an increase in intense tropical cyclone activity in some regions since the 1970s. Historical analysis and data. Historical hurricane data. Pre-satellite era, before the advent of satellite technology in the 1960s, hurricane records were based on ship reports and land observations, which were less reliable and comprehensive. Post-satellite era, since the 1970s, the ability to track and record hurricanes has significantly improved. This period provides more accurate and complete data for analysis. Reanalysis projects. Scientists have undertaken reanalysis projects to better understand historical hurricane activity. These efforts involve re-examining historical weather records and incorporating modern techniques to improve the accuracy of past hurricane data. Scientific perspectives and research findings. Recent research. A study published in Nature Communications in 2021 suggested that the frequency of tropical cyclones globally has remained relatively stable over the past century. However, the proportion of intense hurricanes has increased. Regional variability. Atlantic hurricane activity. The North Atlantic has experienced notable increases in hurricane activity since the 1980s, attributed to both natural variability and anthropogenic factors, such as increased greenhouse gas concentrations. Pacific and other basins. Different ocean basins show varying trends. For instance, the western North Pacific and the eastern North Pacific have shown different patterns of cyclone activity, influenced by factors such as El Niño Southern Oscillation, ENSO, and other climate patterns. Technological advances and detection improvements. Advancements in technology. Improved satellite imagery, aircraft reconnaissance, and remote sensing technologies have enhanced the detection, monitoring, and understanding of hurricanes. These advancements allow for more accurate tracking of storm formation, intensity, and trajectory, reducing the likelihood of underreporting. Impacts and implications. Economic and environmental impacts. The increasing intensity of hurricanes has significant implications for coastal communities, infrastructure, and ecosystems. Economic losses from hurricanes have risen due to the combination of more intense storms and increased coastal development. Conclusion. The question of whether the number of hurricanes is increasing involves multiple layers of analysis, including historical data, regional variability, technological improvements, and the influence of climate change. While the overall frequency of hurricanes may not show a clear long-term increase, the intensity and potential destructiveness of these storms are rising, posing significant challenges for the future. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel.